At least 38 people, including 12 children, were injured as Russian missiles hit Ukraine's Kharkiv. Ukrainian officials say the missiles struck during the evening hours on Tuesday. An apartment housing complex was also damaged in the strike. Meanwhile, Russia denied that it was deliberately targeting civilians. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia was planning to attack the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Zelensky alleged that Russia had planted what looked like explosives on the roofs of the buildings at the site. He added, and I quote, "The only danger to the nuclear reactor is Russia." Meanwhile, Russia accused Ukraine of plotting to attack the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. The European Union confirmed that it would not lift sanctions on Kosovo. They added that sanctions will only be eased if Kosovo de-escalates tensions in the country's north. Earlier in May, Kosovo placed ethnic Albanian mayors in the northern regions, which are dominated by ethnic Serbs. This led to 2 incidents of violence. NATO had to deploy troops to quell the unrest. After this, the EU imposed political and economic sanctions on Kosovo. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said his troops were completing the operation in Jenin city in the occupied West Bank. Netanyahu said that once the counter-terrorism operation would be completed, the troops would withdraw. However, he further added, and I quote, "Jenin is not a one-time operation." At least 10 civilians were killed in the Jenin raid. Israel has deployed over 1,000 troops to target an alleged militant command center. Meanwhile, Israel's military used fighter jets to strike an alleged weapons facility in Gaza. Israel claimed it successfully destroyed a militant facility as part of a preemptive operation. After the air raid, rockets were fired from Gaza towards Israel. Israeli officials say all rockets were intercepted. The Arab League held an emergency meeting to discuss Israel's Jenin raid in Egypt's capital, Cairo. Arab nations reiterated their support for Palestine. They issued a statement condemning Israel for its aggression. The alliance also urged the international community to collectively take measures against Israel. Iran was granted full membership to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization on Tuesday. This was after India hosted the virtual SCO summit, and it was chaired by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Iran is now the 9th full member of the SCO alliance. Iran had applied for membership to the group almost 15 years ago. The UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said rising inflation did not mean his government's policies were wrong. Sunak said his administration was using the right toolkit to ease inflation. Currently, the UK's inflation is higher than most major economies. After Sunak took office in October last year, Britain's inflation has dropped from 11% to 8.6%. US President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden hosted military families at the White House. This was to celebrate America's Independence Day on the 4th of July. Hundreds of military families gathered at the South Lawn. They enjoyed a musical performance arranged for them. Meanwhile, President Biden called for gun control on the Independence Day holiday. Biden said, and I quote, "Banning assault weapons will make a big difference." This is after the US witnessed 3 mass shootings ahead of the 4th of July celebrations. At least 10 people were killed in mass shootings in Texas, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. There have been over 340 mass shootings in the US this year. The Central American nation of Guatemala has begun reviewing ballots from the first round of the presidential election. This is after frontrunner Sandra Torres challenged the results. In the first round, Torres trailed behind anti-corruption candidate Bernardo Arevola. Sandra Torres is the former First Lady of Guatemala. 30 Chinese migrants were rescued by Colombia's army at sea near the Panama border. Army officials say 3 Colombians were also arrested. The detainees were allegedly attempting to illegally transport the Chinese migrants to the US. Colombian officials have handed over the rescued migrants to the Chinese embassy. The Mexican Navy seized over 2,400 kilograms of cocaine during an anti-drug operation off the southern coast. The narcotics were recovered from 3 speedboats. Navy officials say operators of the boat fled by the time the Navy vessels caught up to the boats. At least 15 people were killed as floods swept through China's Chongqing municipality. Over 500 people were forced to evacuate as floodwaters submerged villages. Chinese officials say 17 villagers trapped in a flooded building were rescued. Rescue operations are still underway. China's finance ministry has announced a relief package worth over $44 million for Chongqing. A river in the western city of Ikoma in Japan turned lime green earlier today. Local residents flagged their concerns with local authorities. After conducting tests, officials found that the water did not have any toxic substances. Ikoma city officials are still investigating the cause for the river turning green. Russian emergency services are battling wildfires in the far eastern regions. Forest fires erupted in Russia's areas of Siberia due to intense heat. Russian officials estimate the flames have scorched almost 60,000 hectares of land. Authorities have declared an emergency in Siberia. Peru's Ubinas volcano spewed ash and hot clouds on Tuesday. This caused nearby towns to get covered in ash. Authorities have set up shelters in case evacuation is required. Currently, there are over 2,000 people living near the volcano. Peru is home to a dozen active volcanoes. The Ubinas volcano has been acting up since 2019. The Caribbean country of Cuba is facing a severe water crisis. More than 100,000 residents in the country's capital, Havana, are without water. This is due to rising heat, which has caused water reservoirs to dry up. Cuban authorities have begun sending water tankers to residential areas affected by the water shortage. The Earth recorded its hottest day ever on the 4th of July. This is according to the National Center for Environmental Prediction in the US. The reports say that the Earth's average temperature reached 17.1 degrees Celsius. It surpassed the previous August 2016 record of 16.9 degrees Celsius and the record set on Monday at 17 degrees. Scientists have said heat waves across the world were causing the temperatures to rise. Meanwhile, scientists say the El Nino weather pattern will bring more hot weather next year. The El Nino is the unusual warming of the surface of the Pacific Ocean. This leads to more violent storms in the Pacific and warmer temperatures in Africa, Asia, and Australia. Experts have warned that human activity is exacerbating effects of the El Nino. Moving to business. Reports say China's online fashion retailer Shein is working with at least 3 investment banks. This is regarding a potential initial public offering in the US. These banks reportedly include Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and JP Morgan. Earlier, reports said that Shein had already filed for an IPO in the US. However, fresh reports suggest that this is still in talks with the New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq. As of now, the timing of the IPO is uncertain. The Bank of England is planning to force more international banks to set up their subsidiaries in the UK. It's considering the plan as part of its review of the banking crisis earlier this year. It noted that subsidiaries are easier for local regulators to seize control of in case of failure. Britain's Financial Services Minister Andrew Griffith has warned against the usage of central bank digital currencies. He said that the country should be cautious about issuing CBDCs because of privacy issues. This is after the UK's Finance Ministry and the Bank of England launched a public consultation on the issuance of digital currency. A spokesperson from the Chinese Foreign Ministry has said that the latest export controls on semiconductor material are not aimed at targeting any specific country. The comments come after China said it would control the export of some products. These products are required for making semiconductors. India will reportedly begin producing its first domestically manufactured microchips by the end of 2024. The country will begin working on the semiconductor assembly plant in August. Last month, semiconductor company Micron signed an agreement with the Indian government to build its first factory in the country. This was during Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to the US. A US judge has restricted some agencies and officials from communicating with social media companies to moderate their content. These are officials of President Joe Biden's administration. The injunction came in response to a lawsuit brought by some Republican attorneys general. The lawsuit alleged that the officials went to lengths to get certain content removed or manipulated from media platforms. Researchers in China have developed an artificial intelligence tool. It's capable of designing a computer's central processing unit in under 5 hours. Researchers say that this was done 1,000 times faster than a human team could have achieved it. Twitter's new CEO, Elena Rybakina, defended the company's stance on rate limits. In her tweet, she said that such moves are important to keep strengthening the platform. This was her first public comment on the temporary reading limits set by Elon Musk. Earlier this month, Musk said that users will be able to read only a specific number of posts per day. He added that the move aimed at discouraging increasing levels of data scraping on the platform. Sweden's data privacy watchdog has urged local companies to stop using Google Analytics. The Swedish Authority for Privacy Protection has fined 2 such firms over $1 million cumulatively. It has accused them of transferring personal data to the US via the software program. This is in violation of the European Union's data protection regulation. A new study has revealed that smartwatches with accelerometers can identify Parkinson's disease. They can do so much before the condition is clinically diagnosed. According to researchers, commonly used smartwatches could be used to detect early signs of the disease. Parkinson's is a disorder of the central nervous system that affects movement, often causing tremors. Moving to sports, in cricket, the Board of Control for Cricket in India has appointed Ajit Agarkar as the new chairman of the selection committee of the men's cricket team. The position was vacant since February. Former chairman Chetan Sharma resigned from the role after a sting operation. A 3-member cricket advisory committee headed by Ashok Malhotra recommended Agarkar for the position. England vice-captain Ollie Pope has been ruled out of the ongoing Ashes Test series. He dislocated his right shoulder during the second Test match at Lord's. The 25-year-old batter will now undergo a surgery in the coming days. Dan Lawrence will likely replace Pope for the third Test at Headingley. In football, India won the South Asian Football Federation or SAFF finals. India beat Kuwait in a dramatic penalty shootout to clinch their 9th SAFF title. Both the teams tied at 1-1 after regulation time. A total of 10 yellow cards were given during the match, with 7 of them going to Kuwait. The match then went into penalties. India defeated Kuwait 5-4 in a thriller. This is India's second trophy after clinching the Intercontinental Cup last month. Head coach Christophe Galtier has exited French club Paris Saint-Germain. He left after being in charge of PSG for 1 year with a season remaining on his contract. He's likely to be replaced by former Barcelona and Spain coach Luis Enrique. Voltaire reportedly quit his position after agreeing to a severance package with PSG. Former Chelsea striker Didier Drogba has voiced against fake agents scamming African players. Drogba said football players in Africa were often duped by scammers with fake promises of fame and fortune. He's teamed up with the Global Football Players Union to raise awareness. The 45-year-old said that teenagers were more prone to being lured by the fake agents. Drogba is one of the most successful African players in the Premier League history with 164 goals for Chelsea. The Brazilian women's football team arrived in Australia with a tribute to Iran protesters. The squad's plane displayed pictures of Iranian protesters Mahsa Amini and Amir Nasser Azadani. Remember, Amini was arrested for refusing to wear a headscarf, while Azadani was arrested during protests that followed Amini's detention. Australia and New Zealand are the hosts for this year's Women's World Cup. Hannah Dingley has become the first woman to take charge of a men's English Football League club. The 39-year-old makes history as she takes control of Forest Green Rovers. Dingley joined Forest Green for 4 years ago as an academy manager. The landmark move will make the former Everton striker the first woman to lead a men's senior side in one of England's top 4 divisions. Dingley will replace Duncan Ferguson, who was appointed in January. In tennis, former world number 1 Andy Murray has entered the second round of Wimbledon 2023. Murray defeated fellow British player Ryan Peniston 6-3, 6-0, 6-1 in straight sets. The two-time Wimbledon champion will now face a tougher test in the second round. He will play either 5th-ranked Stefanos Tsitsipas or former US Open winner Dominic Thiem. World number 2 Arina Sabalenka defeated Hungary's Pana Udvardi at Wimbledon. The Belarusian entered the second round with a 6-3, 6-1 win. She'll now face either Italy's Camilla Giorgi or Varvara Grachal of France in round 2. World number 3 Elena Rybakina defeated America's Shelby Rogers in her Wimbledon opener. She defeated Rogers 4-6, 6-1, 6-2 to advance to round 2. The defending champion won the match in an hour and 43 minutes. She'll now be facing either Japan's Nao Hibino or France's Alice Cornet in the second round. Now let's go to the world of entertainment. Singer-songwriter Taylor Swift is gearing up for her Eras tour. According to data from Polestar, the estimated earnings from her tour is set to cross $1 billion. Swift has already made more than $300 million from the first 22 dates of her tour. The singer is reportedly making more than $13 million each night. On average, about 54,000 fans, also famous as Swifties, are attending the Eras Tour concerts. Singer Adele has commented on the latest trend of concert-goers throwing objects towards artists in the middle of their performance. She asked, "Have you noticed how people are forgetting etiquette?" Adele issued a stern warning to concert-goers against throwing things on stage during one of her shows, saying, "I will kill you." K-pop band 50/50 has reportedly been dropped out of the promotions of the Barbie movie. This comes amid a public dispute between the singers and their agency. 50/50 was set to shoot a music video for the soundtrack Barbie Dreams, which was set for a July 7th release. American singer and songwriter Meghan Trainor has welcomed her second child. Trainor shared the news of the birth of her son with husband Dal Sabara on Instagram. The 29-year-old singer is famous for her songs including All About That Bass and Lips Are Moving. Game of Thrones actors Kit Harington and his wife Rose Leslie have welcomed their second child. The two actors met during the filming of the show in 2012 and got married in 2018. Harington revealed that he and Leslie were expecting their second child during the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon in February. Kit Harington played Jon Snow, while Rose Leslie played Ygritte in Game of Thrones. A feud between the famous Kardashian sisters seems to be worsening. A source told a news publication that Kourtney Kardashian does not need her family to make money. The source added that the oldest Kardashian sister feels proud of her brand, C, and is enjoying doing her own thing. Kourtney Kardashian recently got married to drummer Travis Barker and is pregnant. Media personality Kyle Richards and real estate broker Mauricio Umansky have broken silence on their divorce rumors. They wrote on Instagram, "Any claims regarding us divorcing are untrue. However, yes, we have had a rough year, the most challenging one of our marriage." Richards and Umansky are best known for featuring in celebrity reality show Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The two have been married for 27 years. The cast of Netflix's hit show The Good Place recently reunited for a slumber party. The party was organized by actor Ted Danson, who played the role of Michael in the philosophical fiction series. Actors Jamila Jamil, who played Tahani, Darcy Carden, who played Janet, and William Jackson Harper, who played Chidi, attended the party. However, Kristen Bell, who played the main character Eleanor, was absent but was invited. Actor Kit Connor has revealed that he might not have to come out as bisexual had fans not pressured him. He said, and I quote, "Forced isn't the right word I would use, but I would have preferred to do it another way. But I don't regret it, it is empowering." Connor was accused of queerbaiting by playing a bisexual character on drama show Heartstopper. The actor also attended Pride events during his time off. YouTuber Grace Helbig has revealed that she has been diagnosed with breast cancer. In a video, Helbig said, "It has been a whirlwind, but I wanted to let you in on the secret. Get your lumps checked." Helbig has also revealed that she will undergo chemotherapy, followed by surgery and hormonal therapy. The YouTuber is famous for hosting comedy talk show The Grace Helbig Show.